Welcome back to the Redemption Project, everybody. I am your host, Brandon Burley, and today I have with me Tremaine. He's going to tell us about his life, his experiences, and this media company that he's got going. Looks like he's got a couple books, and at least one out and one in the works, or maybe more. So it looks like he's got a lot going on. I look forward to our conversation tonight. So, without further ado, Tremaine, welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, and you, Brandon? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. So let's talk about your life. So you've got a redemption story that I hear is supposed to be pretty good. In all fairness, I try not to peek beforehand, so I don't know too much. So tell us about what happened. What happened in your life?
I was 15. Up until 15, life was great. Straight A student, played football, played basketball. Not one of those guys that grew up in the projects or grew up hard. Had a pretty good life. And with popularity in school, came hanging with a different kind of guy, different group of people, the in crowd, as you would call it. Went out with some guys one night, and I know it's hard when I think about it sometime. And I was arrested along with them. The victim testified that while I didn't I was there, but I didn't participate. So the prosecutor offered me a deal to testify. I refused. Some warped sense of loyalty. And at 15 years old, I was given two 40-year sentences. Having never been in trouble before. The pastor of the church came to speak on my behalf. Principal of my high school, I still remember one of my coaches coming in and saying, "Your Honor, we can't send him to prison. We're not going to win another game if he goes to prison." And the judge was like, that's a pretty original plea for leniency, but he had his chance. And when he said he had his chance, he was talking about the fact that they offered me leniency. They offered me 6 months boot camp and 2.5 years probation.
Oh my goodness.
And again, I chose to. I obviously I played that decision in my head 100 times, and I don't know if it was from some warped sense of loyalty or that G code or street code. I think I was thinking more. Well, the victim testified that I didn't participate, so they knew who had what role. So why do you need me to cooperate when you know that I didn't participate? So I think that was the reason that I didn't cooperate more than just this sense of, oh, I'm a street guy.
So your 240s, were they consecutive or concurrent?
So initially they were consecutive. After I went to prison, I got well versed in the law, ended up becoming a certified law clerk, and found a little loophole that said the 40s could not be ran consecutively because it happened during the same criminal episode. Charges arising from the same criminal episode have to be ran concurrent because it's all one criminal episode. So it sounds small. Well, they went from concurrent to consecutive.
But that's that doesn't sound small. Not at 40.
Right. That went from 80 years to 40 years.
Now, what state is this in? Florida. So in Florida, first-time offenders, do they have ranges where you knew you weren't going to have to do 100%, or what were you looking at?
No. Everything was on the table. It was the entire bid. They have a game time system where for every month that you stay out of trouble, they award you 20 days on the back end of your sentence. So if you have a 20-year sentence and you get in no trouble, that's impossible. But if you get in trouble at all, you would do 12 years on 20. So let's say I got in absolutely no trouble, received all my game time. It was still going to be 24, 25 years. I ended up doing 31, got in a lot of trouble, had a few stabbing cases. I caught 24 years in prison for almost killing an officer. I don't know, you name it, I did it. It got really hard. There was very little support from the outside. I know I disappointed a lot of people, and I get it. And some people just basically, you made your bed, you lay in it. And that's what it was. So I put one foot in front of the other, and I don't know. Thankfully, I made it home.
So how did that work? Did you get paroled out, and then next thing you like, what's happening?
I simply reached the end of my sentence. It's called EOS. I simply
You
earned
got it
enough.
flat.
I earned enough game time to get out. That's
Yep.
literally all it was.
So you didn't
No,
leave on paper. You come out. You're
right.
now a free man. The state's not watching you at all. What happens?
So while I was in prison, I got my law clerk certification. I worked in a law library, and I also wrote an 11-book series.
Wow.
So I got out. I started a paralegal company, reached out to a couple of attorneys. I actually still have the company now. I'm an independent contractor. The attorneys sometimes bring me in when they have big cases or there's a specialty. I do post conviction, obviously, because that's what I dealt with all the time I was incarcerated.
Yep.
So when they have different cases, they need a fresh angle, they reach out to me. And then obviously my media company. My media company is my baby just because those books that I'm releasing, the second book will be released this summer. Those books gave me a chance to, while in novel form, it gave me a chance to write my life. It gave me a chance to, while they're urban books, I guess there's messages in them, there's positivity in them. So it gives me a chance to, in the urban format, to get someone interested, to get the hook in them. But then throughout, I drop all the positive stuff. It's
Awesome.
all
And
don't
it
make
being Phoenix media really resonated with me. I have a tattoo of a phoenix front on the back of my leg from my ankle up to the back of my knee. And because bird that rises from the ashes and
from the ashes.
emerges in a second chance, right? So I think
And
that's extremely fitting. I love it.
that's basically what my, so the book company is True Phoenix Media. The paralegal group is Phoenix Legal Support and Post Conviction Solutions. The Phoenix is just such a central theme for me. It's literally rising from the ashes. It's that resilience, that redemption. It's that second chance. So I take it seriously. I went to a youth facility. I've gone to a youth facility and spoke a couple of times as a guest speaker, like a youth offender prison. I went one time and then they asked me to come back. It's about an hour away. So I always want an opportunity to give back if I can, which is kind of why I reached out to your podcast. Part of it was I have a book release coming up, but it was also the story too. I want people to know, look, I don't care what you've been through in life. I am proof that you can make it. You can. And it doesn't have to necessarily be incarceration. It could be a bad marriage. It could be losing your job. It could be drug use. It could be whatever your Phoenix was, whatever you rose from, whatever your situation was. Because our situations they're different. They're our own situations, but you can rise from them. You absolutely can rise from them.
So what happens when you leave prison? So you're flat. You got the state's got nothing on you. What do you start doing?
I don't know. It was so, mind you, I got incarcerated in 1992. I got out in 2023. Right.
So
Right.
you finished in prison while COVID was happening.
Right. I was in prison for COVID. I was in prison for everything. The advent of the worldwide, not just that, the World Wide Web, what we know, everything that developed while I was gone.
When I left, in the 90s were some good years too.
They were the best. They were the best. The music,
man,
everything was just, even I like to laugh and tell people, when I got locked up, cell phones were this big with the big rubber antenna on them, and you had to carry them in a case. Now everything had changed.
So if you want to talk about jokes, my son asked me not too long ago, Dad, where's all the pictures of you from when you were in the military? And I said, oh, buddy, you go downstairs and you can go in the photo album. He's like,
go through the box, right?
And I said, son, when I got out of the Marine Corps was the same year the first iPhone came out. So
right. Yeah,
let's calm down. What? No, I don't have digital pictures.
I can't just go in my library on my phone.
Exactly. So and life changed a lot. So you're coming out of free man. You got a halfway house, or like what you've got?
No, so initially stayed with my mom it didn't work for a few months. Just didn't work. And then I had another situation and I ended up getting back with my high school sweetheart.
Nice.
Hadn't had any kids. She basically had waited on me. She kept faith that I was coming home.
Yeah.
And the irony of that is, after a few years of being incarcerated, she was very supportive. But I told her, hey, look, you're a kid. You got your whole life in front of you. This ain't fair to you. Going on with your life. And she was adamant about trying to support. She continued to write until I just literally had to cut communication.
Wow.
Yeah, I just literally cut communication. I just up and stopped writing, stopped calling, stopped. And even now she said that was unfair to take that from her. But again, I was 15, she was 16. Like, it isn't fair to you in life.
Yeah.
But everything's good with us now. We live together. The businesses are thriving. In some ways, it's almost like I didn't leave her. Like, right back up where we left off.
So how did you start the businesses? Like, what happens? How does all this come to fruition? You got to make money somehow. So you get out.
When I first got out, did the warehouse work because pretty much all that a convicted felon could get. I did all the warehouse work. I was working the overnight shift so that I could go to school in the morning. So I started going to school. Didn't finish. I am going back to school.
What are you going to school for?
So I want to go for I want to go for something that right now, even as a paralegal, I think paralegals are one of those industries that AI is going to move right out the way. You can feed facts into AI and they can write motions. They can do the research. Not so much the publishing company, but if I keep it real with you, that's not going to pay the bills.
Right.
My significant other and I also have a dispatching company that can pay the bills.
Okay. Like for trucks. Yep. Okay.
Right. We do dispatching for trucks. I was doing go back. I was doing the warehouse work, just trying to save every quarter I could. And I was reaching out to attorneys and telling them that, hey, I have all this experience. Asked me to send writing samples. I sent writing samples. And I had a couple of attorneys that, like I say, they reach out, hey, I have some work for you. Can you handle this? So as that started to build, end up losing a job with Amazon. And I just focused full time on growing the companies, on scaling the companies. My significant other has a real estate license. So I sometimes kind of work as her administrative assistant.
Yeah.
It's all one pot. So we we figure it out, kind of just in the process of developing multiple streams of income. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have her. I've been blessed to have someone that says, hey, let's figure it out together.
Which is awesome.
Even with that being said, I promise you, it's the prison just bred in me an intense desire to succeed. I'm not going back. I thought I was going to be that dude that kept in touch with everybody when I got out, because sold drugs in prison. I did a bunch of things I'm not proud of.
Sure.
But first time, one of the guys that I kept in touch with asked me to do something legal out here for him, and there was like, okay, I realized I'm not going to be able to keep in touch with these guys because you guys know the me that was incarcerated, right?
Sure.
The consequences out here are much greater than that. So I can't. And here's the thing. If you really are for me, no way could you ask me, or should you be asking me to do something illegal that could possibly bring me back there. Not knowing I spent my entire life in prison. I spent 31 years of my life in prison. How could you possibly open your mouth to say, and I don't want to sound corny, man, I get it. I lived it. Yeah. I lived it. I'm not one of them dudes that's here telling you I lived it. But how you then say, hey, boy, I need you to, whatever it is you need me to do.
Sure.
And I did all this time. Like, you can't be for me like that. I do what I can to keep it real and to look back to, but I don't know, when I look back now, I look back with positivity because it's great being out here. I'm not giving this up. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up my freedom. I'm not. So for those that say, oh, you got out there and you changed, all right, that's cool. That's cool. I guess I did. I changed for the better though. I never thought I'd be here though, Brandon. I'm not lying. I never thought I'd be here. But there was times I didn't know if I was going to make it out or not.
Lose me? Could you hear me?
I could not.
Oh, yeah, All right. I said, so having said all that, what's the next move for you? What's the next that if you're on the up and up, you're out, you can't keep in contact with them. You're working, you've got multiple streams of income coming in. What's the next thing that's going to keep you going, keep you active, keep you rolling in the right direction?
This True Phoenix Foundation that I'm trying to start. I
Okay.
ultimately want to start doing podcasts. I want to start doing speaking engagements. I want an opportunity to say, hey, look, I'm not one of them guys I didn't read about this in a book. This what
Yeah.
happened for real. Let me tell you what real life is. Because I
Yeah.
do think I bring a certain amount of credibility. You
Sure.
know, I wasn't on the sidelines. I was out there, as they like to say, I was in the trenches,
Yeah.
behind the wall for real. So I can tell you, I know what it's like the 3 o'clock in the morning, have the dogs and the search team come in, get up, strip down, bend
Mm.
over, spread them. I know what it's like to go through that.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to walk in the yellow line, put your hands behind your back, put your head down, shut up. I know what it's like to get that tray with slop on it. And you know, the thing, my significant other, she laughs all the time. Sometimes I go to the refrigerator and just open and look in, and she be like, "What's up?" And I'm just the fact that I can.
Yeah. Looking at it.
Yeah, the fact that I can. You know, earlier today. Sometimes I go outside and just sit in the rain because I want to enjoy being free.
Yeah.
So
For the rest of your life to be free.
right. So you
Right.
the next step is the next book. My books are my babies because my books give me a chance to tell my story. So
Sure.
that is something that I'm trying to do for guys that's still incarcerated. There's a lot of dudes that write books. You're not just all bad in them. You have some people
Yeah.
that do use their time constructively. So
Sure.
you have dudes that write. I want to give dudes an opportunity to write. You guys may not have family or someone out there that can publish for them. You know, mind publishing for them and giving them opportunity to A, get their story out, and B, make them a little money. So, you know, I'm for the struggle as long as it's legitimate. As
Sure.
long as it's legal, I'm for the struggle. You're
Yeah.
not gonna meet a bigger person that's for the struggle more than me.
Mm.
Legal, again, I have to keep saying that, but within legal confines, I am the guy that's going to help. You
Man,
can
that's
call
awesome.
me and say, hey, I got some issues in my case. I don't have much money. You think you can look at this? And I am. I am literally going to take time out and research and see if I can help. I'm that guy that's going to give back. It's why I want to do speaking engagements. I want people to hear the story. I told when I went and spoke last week, if I don't catch but one, I've done my job. If then but one person listened to me and it deterred them from, oh, I ain't getting my life up like that, then I'm okay. You know, no, man, it's hard I never thought I'd be here, even sitting down with you on a podcast and telling my story. I didn't think I was here. There was times in prison I didn't think I was going to make it out. You had to become a completely different dude. Like I said, I had 11 stabbing cases. I stabbed 11 different people over them years, fighting for survival. I almost killed the officer fighting for survival.
Mm.
Before I went to prison, man, I was just this young, outgoing dude who used to laugh, like to have fun. I had to go in prison and shut all that off. I had to just become a completely different person because you aren't allowed to be happy in prison. You aren't allowed to take it as a sign of weakness. A smile is a sign of weakness. Yeah, now that I'm out, I do smile a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I grab my girl and just hug her. She's like, oh, it's more than just joy and happy to be out. It's overcome. No, I still get emotional sometimes thinking about where I came from, what I made it through. Girl said I had a nightmare about 2 weeks ago. I'm sure, Brandon, I'm sure there are some things in there that I haven't fully confronted being home yet.
Sure.
I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other and I don't know, hopefully get my story out. People listen and be like, yeah, I don't want none of that. Yeah, it's good that he made it. I'm happy for him, but yeah, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Speaking of glad that he made it, let's talk about this book. So let's talk about the first one and then let's talk about the one that came out. So which one is out right now?
So this one is out right now.
All right.
This is Remember the Phoenix. And I did something kind of cool. So the first book is the protagonist's name is Corey.
Okay.
Corey is me. But the first book is Corey's a week out of prison. And it's all the different things he's going through, trying to reacclimate himself. A few really cool twists and turns in the book. Like, it's a really good story, not because I wrote it, but it's a really good story. It reads well.
Okay.
I've got great reviews on Amazon. So the first story is Corey when he first came home. The second book in a month or so called Buried Alive. Buried Alive takes you back to when Corey was 15, standing before the judge, getting sentenced to the 240-year terms.
Mm.
The first book is, like I said, is him when he first comes home. The second book takes you back to when it first started. And then the third book, which is All Gas, No Brakes, kind of through while he's in prison, the different things he's going through. Second Chance is when he's getting ready to come home. And then after Second Chance, it jumps back to the present. So after Remember the Phoenix. So you
Okay.
get Corey, the grown man now, and
Yep.
then you get a chance to go back. We'll go back and we'll document everything from prison throughout. And so, like I say, Remember the Phoenix is out now. It's actually on sale on my website for $10 because I'm trying to get as many people to buy it before Buried Alive comes out, so they're familiar with the
Sure.
characters and stuff. So
The only place that they can get it on your website, or are you
no,
anywhere else?
it's on Amazon as well. So
Okay.
it's on Amazon. That's Remember the Phoenix. Author name is Tremaine Javon. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to truephoenix.com and buy it directly from the website. We ship out same day. Like I said, if you buy it directly from the website, there's a discount because we're running a $10 now on the website. Because again, we're trying to drum up as much interest. We want people to be caught up or understand the characters and the players before Buried Alive drops. And then
Sure.
there's also my autobiography is coming out in September called Breaking Chains. But that's when we really get into the story, and there's no character names. It's Tremaine.
Yeah.
Breaking Chains is Tremaine. It's everything Tremaine went through from the time of birth to where he is now.
Mm.
And Brandon, we trying to figure it out. I ain't got it all figured out, but
None of us do, man. None of us do.
I'm trying to get there. You're trying to get there. So
And that's awesome. And congratulations on the work that you're doing. Congratulations on finding different paths and coming back and being willing to share your story, and not just with me, but in book form, and the way that you're being open and willing to be vulnerable about it, share it with people. So hopefully somebody else doesn't go through the same thing. Man, that's awesome. You can't beat that. Right.
yeah, and funny you say that because I told you in prison you couldn't smile, you can't have a good day, you can't, those are interpreted as
Yeah.
weakness, right?
Yeah.
Now, with family members, with friends, even with my significant other, sometimes I have a problem with vulnerability. No, I do. There are moments I catch myself and I'm like, when something bothers me, I have a tendency to kind of down. I have to shut down and process. And I'm sure it's a byproduct. Not I'm sure, I know it's a byproduct of all the years, right? You
Yeah.
had nobody that you could cry out to. You had nobody you could be weak with. You had no shoulders you could cry on.
Yeah.
That's what I do now. I realize I don't have to do it now, but habits are hard to break, right? This is who I had to be in order to survive. And there are times when I still resort to that. They'll rely on that. I'll shut down. I call it going in turtle mode. Now
Turtle.
the turtle sticks his head in the shell and he's
Yeah.
saying everything outside. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I do. There are times where I still go in turtle mode. I literally shut down. I get inside that shell where no one can get to me. And whether it's I cry, whether it's I yell and scream, kick and cuss, I do it inside that shell. And when I come back out, I got my game face on. I'm ready again. That's not fair to the small circle that I do have. Maybe that isn't fair to them. But as I tell people, bear with me. Bear with me, man. There's some scars, there's some things back there that you would not believe. And I have to deal with it my way. I'm not saying that's fair because it's not fair to the ones that's in my life, but it's what it is.
I think that's part of it, right? We're not all part of a cookie cutter mold. Everybody's different. And it's funny because my wife and I have very different styles. We've been married 17 years and we got extremely different styles. If we argue about something, I
Right.
want to separate, go think about it, think it through to myself, and then I'll go have a conversation about it. And she is the exact opposite. In order for her to be able to think it through, she's got to talk about it. So
Right.
it's made for some interesting times throughout the years where I also have a turtle mode and I'm like, time. Just
Right.
let me be.
Just let me breathe. Let me,
Yeah.
yeah. Funny you say my significant other's like that. It's kind of like your wife in the beginning. What's wrong? What's wrong? You can't
Yeah.
talk. You don't want to. And now she says, I understand that when you go there, it's best to just give you some space and let you come back.
Yeah.
Literally what she said. When I say she's my she doesn't know how much I just appreciate her. Not just love her and respect, but appreciate her. Because she's allowing me to, for lack of a better word, fully become a man and reintegrate and everything without the pressures of. She's
Mm,
so understanding. She literally just wants the best for me. So
man,
she
that's
says
awesome.
all the time, I understand. I get it now. There are times when you need to just kind of, I'm here. I'm when you're ready to talk, and she doesn't push it. Her one
Man, that's
rule
awesome.
is we cannot go to bed angry at each other.
Oh, I'm
That's
familiar with that rule. With that rule.
now that's a no-no. We can't, we ain't gotta
Yeah,
be lovey-dovey, but we're not
man.
going to bed with attitudes.
Over the last 2 decades, that same rule has kept us up very late some nights, right? So
Right.
there's been some 2 a.m. nights where we're still hashing it out because I
Right.
needed to calm my thoughts down and get a grip on what I wanted to say and how I felt about it before we went and addressed it. So that going to bed not angry rule is great until it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're
Until
like,
I was
I
gonna
am
say
so
until it had to
tired.
be practically put into play, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
So
tired. So, well, man, I appreciate
still can't go.
I know, right? And you're
Yeah,
falling asleep while you're talking to her, and you're like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm right here, right here, I'm right here." But
yeah.
man, Tremaine, I'm glad you came on. I'm glad. Thank you so much for taking the time coming to talk to us. Talk to us about your situation. Telling us about your books and everything that you've got going on. Once the second book is out, well, that's in August, and then the autobiographies in would you say September?
Right.
Yeah, you got 2 back to back. So
Right.
once those come back out, we'll have to have you back on and talk about it. And then maybe I'll thumb through your autobiography and see what kind of dirt I can dig up to corner you
Not
about
a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. I'm open to it, Brandon. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
OneTruePhoenixMedia.com. You can go grab the first one.
So I've got a QR code that's been up on the screen the whole time. So when they're watching, they can scan it and they can go click on it, thumb through there, and see what they can find for you.
Right, because I also use the website as everything. In fact, our podcast visit with you was on there. Like when we went out and spoke at the juvenile prison, we posted pictures from that. So it's not just for the books; it's for everything we have going on. So that kind of keeps you up to date with us. Anything you want to know about True Phoenix, you can go to TruePhoenixMedia.com, and it's
I
on
love
now.
it, man.
All right, man. I
Have a
definitely
great one.
you as well. Talk to you later.
See you, buddy.
All right, bye bye.